Hello and welcome along to the Young People's Show on Gloucester FM. It's 6:06. I'm in for the Future Me Gloucestershire team today, Thursday the 14th of April, so welcome along to our show. How are you keeping out there? Has your long weekend started already? I can't wait for it. So if you were listening along to the show last week, you might have caught me getting a little bit flustered with a lack of technical knowledge. So fingers crossed for me that it all goes well today. The reason I bring that up is because it could have been a bit stressful, and we are actually going to be talking about stress in today's show because April is Stress Awareness Month. And that's been promoted by a not-for-profit organisation called the Stress Management Society. On their website, they actually say that Stress Awareness Month has been held every year in every April since 1992, which is amazing, to raise awareness of the causes and cures of our modern stress epidemic. The last 2 years have been the most challenging, and they have faced, and in 2020 their services were overwhelmed by people who were struggling to seek support. And the theme for this year's Stress Awareness Month is community. And they go on to say that a community is much more than just a group of people. It's about having a sense of belonging and a connection to others and feeling supported and accepted by them. And we absolutely couldn't agree more, which is why Future Me are really honoured to be part of the Gloucester FM Community Radio. And it's also why community is one of the 4 key topics that Future Me Gloucestershire focus on as part of preparation for adulthood, alongside health, employment and independence. So we really wanted to create a show around this starting point. So stay tuned for our discussion about stress and how you might be able to manage it right after this. Really thrilled to have 3 of the Future Me youth representatives with me, carrying on some of our important discussions on the Young People's Show. And because April is Stress Awareness Month, it's really important that we talk about stress, because I think stress can be a sort of background factor to some more serious mental health problems that maybe can arise. But actually stress is quite a universal human experience. You know, we all get stress sometimes. So you guys, I thought, firstly, introduce yourself to the listeners.
Okay, I'll go first. Hello, my name is Morgan Phelps. I'm one of the Future Me youth reps.
Hello, I'm Robin. I'm one of the Future Me youth representatives.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm also one of the Future Me youth reps here. I'm really excited to be here to be able to talk about a variety of subjects.
Great, thank you. So I thought I'd just ask a little bit around, what's your guys' experience with stress? Because I think it's always really healthy to hear from others your own age, that you're not alone with some of your experiences. So first of all, I thought I'll come to you first, Morgan. I wondered if you'd be willing to share any particular stressful scenarios you found yourself in and how you dealt with it.
I have too many to know, but I definitely remember on my last few years at art and design in courses, because I remember it wasn't just with me, it was with a lot of people just stressed out about deadlines, like what to do next, what to work on and stuff like that. And just generally, like, everyone was just so stressed out. It was just easy to get stressed out very easily. And what I learned during those years was, this is just my personal way of dealing with it, but I learned that trying to listen to music at least helped block out the noise, to at least help me focus. And if it really got too much for me, I found out that just going out for just a quick walk, just remove myself from the situation, was enough to just clear my head. And I've also found out that meditation for like at least just a good 5 minutes is just a good way to level yourself back down. Yeah, my college years is because that was my stress was at my peak, but yeah.
So like 3 really practical bits of advice there. I think probably got a lot of music lovers listening, so I think that's a great piece of advice. Yeah. And how about you, Olivia? Does any of that sound similar to you? School, was that stressful or something else?
Yeah, so school, I'm still in education with all my A-levels. I found that very stressful, especially because I missed a lot of school with illness. So I was very worried when revising, which probably did make me more ill because of how I don't think I coped with the stress properly. And then also when I was off ill, I was stressing again on, oh God, I'm not going to be seeing my exams, you know, what's going to be happening. But also I think I'm someone who easily worries for everybody. When you take on the weight of the whole world, it can be really quite damaging, and it's not something you can just, you know, a quick fix, just go, oh, just don't. I wish it was that easy. But I found music helped. I found like the gym really helped, working with weights especially. Like it's a different form of your feeling then. Those parts really helped. And like just really talking to friends, even if they're sometimes in the same boat, it can be comforting. But sometimes, especially if you start to take on, say, your friends' worries, that's probably not always the best thing to discuss, because you may start worrying about them along with your own worries.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think it makes me think about, you know, what it is to be a good listener, and how sometimes you can have a friend who's amazing to talk to. They can help de-escalate your stress. But you both picked up on the kind of exam stress, and I think sometimes when you and your cohort are all experiencing the same stress, sometimes talking about it together, you can kind of like exacerbate it in each other, kind of like make each other on a bit, and it can become a bit of a toxic kind of hive mind maybe. So yeah, I think it's good to find someone who's a good listener, whether that's a friend or a parent or someone else, if you are stressed, that aren't going to make you feel worse, going to make you feel better, hopefully. And it's a bit of give and take as well, isn't it? I think we've all been there, and it's good to have someone around that helps kind of get you out of a bad mindset. How about you, Robin? Have you got any anecdotes of when you felt stressed out?
Yeah, definitely when we were, I was in sixth form, was taking our level 2 hospitality and catering exam. That was really stressful. The work we had to do for that, the coursework, and we just been switched to a new teacher, so we weren't very used to her. She was very strict, so I just found that really stressful. Just found I couldn't do the work.
Yeah, I'm kind of picking up on that sense of like change. You know, change can be stressful. So if you're used to a certain teacher, as an example, or you're used to an environment that changes, I think that was why the lockdowns were so stressful, because it was that huge change and the unknown. I think that's such a common cause of stress. Thank you for being so honest and sharing your experiences. I'm going to come back to you a little bit later and talk about if you've got any like extra tips other than the ones that have been mentioned about how you might manage stress in a healthy way. So talking a little bit more with the Future Me Youth Reps now about managing stress and keeping your techniques for managing stress on the right side of healthy and not slipping into any bad habits. I think we probably all know that there are certain coping mechanisms that we might rely on when we're getting a bit stressed, and maybe in the short term, a little like cheeky bag of donuts or something is fine, but you don't want to be doing that all the time. So I don't know if you guys have any other tips you felt like sharing about how to deal with stress that you found have been good and helpful.
I found that, at least in my case, this is just one other tip I thought is, in my case, I still have a very bad habit when I get overwhelmed by things. I focus on too many things at once to the point where I lose focus. So my advice is, when you're being stressed out by things, like take a step back and try to prioritize the things that are stressing you out, and like, okay, let's just deal with one thing at a time and, solve them systematically. Just take on one at a time. It's a very good way to like get you back in focus on like what's really piling on, and sometimes you even like find out, okay, it's not that many I was worrying about. So my advice is just make just a list of things you need to do, and it just gives you a better focus of how to deal with it more healthily.
Yeah, like breaking an overwhelming problem down into like manageable chunks.
Yeah.
It's probably a good way to deal with it. Thanks, Morgan. How about you, Olivia?
I think with exams and kind of revision school, I made a timetable. I liked everything to be organised all out. I'd kind of make sure that, it's not always easy. I mean, especially if you look at my desk now, it's not clean, but I try to keep it clean, keep, my room a bit tidy, although my mum would probably say different. And kind of, just have that part. And also just kind of to remember to have a break away. And although it may not feel like a break, because you might constantly be thinking, oh, I need to do this, then I need to do that, and so on. It is a step away. So you may still be thinking about work the whole time. But if you do it, consistently, it will start to just become a natural habit, and it will increase your, the way you work. It will increase how good you feel emotionally. And also using techniques like the Pomodoro technique, which I love, I stand by. That helped. Just changing the way you study, that really helped. In the workplace, because I'm a waitress, I'd kind of, again, organise everything between each waitress and just remember to let people know if you are feeling stressed. And of course, especially if you've got loads of people there, it can be really hectic. Try short notes, try just having a breath, even if it's just 2 minutes outside with fresh air, honestly, the way you work will just be much better.
Great advice. Pomodoro technique, that's when you take regular short breaks, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's about 25 minutes or so, and then you'll have a 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, and you can do that for about 2 hours or so, and then you'll have a proper long break. And I like to use apps to kind of, or just kind of timers really, to make sure I don't look at my phone, turn everything off silent. The first 25 minutes may be really difficult, but you'll start to get into the habit of it. And honestly, you work a lot faster and at the same efficiency and, at the same level.
Brilliant. Thank you. And lastly, Robin, what about you? Have you got any top tips or healthy ways of dealing with stress that you'd share with anyone else?
I think talking to a friend can really help with stress.
Absolutely, it can. Yeah, having a great friend to, listening here is so important. And yeah, I think that's an excellent way to end our chat. So thanks very much, Robin, Olivia and Morgan from the Future Me team. It's great to have you on as always.
Now, following on from that discussion about stress management, we wanted to acknowledge how stress is actually often a mask for other mental health difficulties, because I'm sure that many of us probably find it a lot easier to admit to being stressed or having a burnout than to say that maybe we're struggling with anxiety, depression, or maybe even something even harder. Which is why we wanted to take you back into the Future Me archive a little bit. And I really wanted to share with you a really excellent interview that Maria did back last September with Paul Mallory, who has experience of volunteering with the Samaritans, which I'm sure you've heard of the Samaritans. They are a phenomenal charity, and the important message is that they are there for you if you need them. Every 10 seconds, Samaritans respond to a call for help. They are there day or night for anyone who's struggling to cope, who needs someone to listen to them without judgment or pressure. So I'll let Maria's chat with Paul give you lots more details about this incredible service that is offered by Samaritans. If you're stressed, if you're struggling, have a listen in. It's a really great listen. And yet here is one of our older interviews with Paul Mallory from the Samaritans, but still as relevant today as ever.
Hello everyone. We have Paul Mallory here with us today, and he's going to tell us a bit about his experience with the Samaritans.
Sure. I volunteered for about 8 years for the Samaritans as a telephone volunteer, so I take telephone calls from people who are in distress or upset, a whole range of different states that people might be in, but they need some help, and call an anonymous stranger and get some support.
All right. So how come that you became part of it?
Well, it was fairly random. I wanted to do something useful to help people, and actually I saw a newspaper ad for volunteers. They're always looking for new volunteers, so people can join and become volunteers. Talk about that a bit more later, maybe. And I thought, sounds interesting, and I went along to an open night and heard a bit more about it and got really absorbed by the subject.
That's so awesome. Okay, so what should we expect if we ever call to the Samaritans?
Yeah, it's really important to understand that it's confidential service, first of all. So anything, if you call the Samaritans because you want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and it can be anything, it's important to understand it's not going to go any further.
Yeah.
So it's just between you and the caller, and that's a very strict rule that they have. And it's anonymous. They don't know who's calling. There's no number tracking or number tracing. So there's no way of knowing who's calling, which is really important again. Because you see, the point is, people need to feel free to say some difficult things.
Definitely.
And you're talking to a stranger, so it's somebody who doesn't really have an axe to grind. It's somebody who's not part of your family, or someone who might have an opinion. There's no opinion. It's just people who are there to help.
So what do they actually do? Do they talk with you, or do they listen to you?
It's a conversation, but mainly a volunteer listens, and what we focus on very heavily in Samaritans training is listening skills. It sounds easy, and actually it's a very difficult thing to do well. So it's active listening.
We don't do it enough, do we? Listening.
We don't listen enough generally. We do a lot of talking.
Yeah, we do.
But not so much listening. And anyone who's been in a situation where they felt upset or desperate will know how frustrating it is when you just want to get something off your chest and somebody keeps interrupting or advising you what you should do or telling you what you should do. Samaritans don't do that. They listen and allow you the space to express how you're feeling, and it's very powerful.
Is it just a crisis service, or can you just call if you have?
You can call any time about anything, and as a volunteer I always used to encourage, I'm no longer a volunteer by the way, I'm an ex-volunteer because I've moved on to do other things now, but very much the ethos of it is that people can talk about anything they want to for as long as they want to. So there's no time pressure.
Yeah.
I had on occasion talked to people for maybe 3 hours on the phone, and it's fine. And and just allowing people that space, that space to say how they feel. And focused attention. That's right, and that's active listening. That's a difficult skill.
It is. I agree with you. So, what advice would you give to someone struggling with suicidal thoughts, but they're finding it difficult to reach out and seek help?
The advice I would give to anybody who's feeling actually upset, because that was the thing I wanted to say, the Samaritans will talk to people on a continuum from I'm a bit upset through to I'm thinking of taking my life.
Yeah.
And anywhere in between is fine. So nobody should ever think, which people do, I'm not desperate enough to be Samaritans.
I do know a lot of people that they're like, oh no, my issues I'm not bad enough. Other people need my help.
Absolutely. And I regularly would talk to people on the phone who would say, you must have more important calls to take. I feel like I shouldn't be using your time. And we would always say, no, you need to talk to us and we want to talk to you.
You deserve this help.
Yeah. At any stage on that scale of upset. So what I would encourage everybody to do is, if you're feeling bad, just try it, just call. Nobody's going to say you're wasting our time. So Samaritans is one solution. I mean, maybe you've got a friend who can provide that listening for you, or maybe you've got a family member or a counsellor at school or whatever it might be.
Or a teacher.
But the one benefit, I'm going to sing their praises a little bit, one benefit of Samaritans is these are highly trained people who will not tip over into giving advice and pushing you in a certain direction. You see, people naturally, when they care about you, want to fix it for you.
Definitely.
And anybody who's been in this situation will know that as soon as somebody starts trying to fix it for you, it's not helping anymore.
No.
You don't want your problem to be fixed by someone. Yeah, and you may think you do, but actually you just need to be listened to so you get clear about what your issues are. Because you're confused. Yeah. We all go through this. That's the other thing to say. People who call Samaritans or seek help or are feeling upset are not a special group of people. We are all going to have moments. I guarantee you, we'll all have moments in life where we need someone to listen to us.
The last question, Paul. What can we do? Because obviously it's such a common... It is a really common thing. It's not spoken about it, but, a lot of people have suicidal thoughts and, friends, family, maybe ourselves. So what can we do for these people around us, that if we have someone that might be struggling?
If we know someone who's struggling and are in that situation, I offer to talk and to listen, and learn how to actively listen, which means stop thinking about yourself and allow them the space to say what they want to say. You have to practice it. It's not easy because you want to fix it. Yeah. Stop trying to fix it. Just listen. Suggest that they call Samaritans and explain to them it's not only for people who are feeling suicidal, it's for people who are not feeling right or feeling upset.
Because you can get that a lot where you try to tell someone, a friend or a family or even a teacher, and you get a response that just makes you feel worse, makes you feel like it's your fault that you're feeling this way, and why are you feeling this way? You don't have any reasons to.
And
it doesn't.
And another crucial part of the Samaritan service is it's non-judgmental.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be judged. Nobody's going to tell you you've done a bad thing, whatever you've done. Yeah. And some calls are very difficult for volunteers to handle because they're about people who've done things that I may consider to be a very bad thing.
Yeah.
My training says put that to one side. I'm there to listen to the caller, whatever they've done. Right. So whatever you've done, whatever you feel about yourself, you can call and you'll be listened to. And the other thing I wanted to mention was they also have an email service. So if you don't want to talk to someone and you find that difficult, you can email.
So guys, there's help out there. So don't stop believing that there's a way out or just giving up on trying to get better just because it's hard. Because it is hard. It's really uncomfortable to have to put through talking about this with someone and accepting that you feel this way.
Yeah, and if you think Samaritans might be useful, just Google Samaritans. All the contact details are there. It's 24/7, 365 days a year service. If you're feeling bad, and people do at 3 a.m, call. There will be someone sitting there. It's an amazing service. It's incredible. Yeah. There are people there 24 hours a day waiting to talk.
Because people do deserve this help. So don't believe that because your problems are not bad enough or because there's other people with other problems you don't deserve this help, because you do. And we hope that you guys take care, and thank you for listening to us, and we'll see you soon.
So thanks so much again to Paul for sharing that great insight into being a Samaritans volunteer. Now we have to stress just that Paul isn't any more a volunteer, and it was just his opinion. He's not a spokesperson for Samaritans, but I'm sure you'll agree it was a really interesting chat and really sound advice. So I just wanted to recap those important contact details that you can call for free at any time. Their helpline is 116 123. That's 116 123. And if you find it easier to write your thoughts or feelings down, you can actually email them instead at jo@samaritans.org. That's Jo without an E, jo@samaritans.org. So thanks so much for coming through this evening's show with me. Do tune in next week. We're going to be talking about Hope House clinics. We've got an excellent interview that Olivia did with staff from the NHS Health and Care Trust to play to you. So do just tune in next week for that one.